Hey guys, this is a video response to the Thevideogameshark and his 1,000th subscriber contest. And his question was, what's your favorite video game of all time? Well, my favorite game of all time is actually a computer game. And actually my favorite video game is only number 3 probably in my top 10 list. So I'm going to show you that first. That game is... and you could tell the sticker is really messed up. That should tell you how much I play it. This is Dragon Warrior Monsters 1 for the Game Boy Color. This is definitely, as I've said many times, in my top 5 video games of all time, and I would probably rate this one 3. There's 2 computer games that I rate above this one. And trying to come up with this list, I was about to have a nervous breakdown because it was so hard to come up with. I mean, I've been playing video games, computer games, video games for over 30 years, so makes it very difficult just to come up with a list off the top of my head because there's just so many games and so many great games I've played over the years. But I talked to my best friend and he had some really good advice. I gave him like 5 games and said, hey, which ones you think is my favorite game of all time? And the way he came up with it, and this is probably good advice for everybody, think about what game do you obsess over. And you know, it made it a little easier. That's how the 2 computer games got moved up, because he says back in the day these are the only games, you know, I would talk about in the 90s, and both of these the computer games are from the actually early to mid 80s. But I mean, I absolutely obsessed over these 2 games, and basically what that means, the first one, which is number 1, I've tried to recreate the games in different engines such as Neverwinter Nights, a 2D MMO. I've tried to make it an MMO game. I've just obsessed. I've made lists. I've printed out maps. I've played the games multiple upon multiple times. I've beat it a couple times. The second one in my list was Alternate Reality: The Dungeon for the Atari 8-bit computers. I'm not going to show it because it was number 2. My number 1 game of all time is Wizard's Crown. And although a lot of you younger guys have no clue what this is a tactical strategy RPG game from about 85 or 86. I played it on the Atari 8-bit. It's available for the Atari 8-bit, Commodore 64, Apple, Atari ST, and PC. And in a little bit I'll show you a little bit of the graphics for it. They're not great. It's not about how great this game is. It was about just getting out there and finding all kinds of loot. When you looted monsters and beat them, it wasn't just a couple things you'd find. You'd find, like, if there was 40 creatures you fought, because remember this is a tactical strategy game, there'd be 40 pieces of armor, 40 weapons, miscellaneous stuff that you could bring back to town and sell. And it was just hard as nails. This is a really, really hard game. I mean, you could just, one little mishap when you're doing strategy, you know, some kind of strategy battle, you'd lose like an hour's worth of time, because some of these battles would take like an hour at a time. Some of the battles, what I did back then was there was a quick combat, and that would only take about 10 seconds to run, but you had to make sure you were definitely more powerful than the creatures, because it could go either way sometimes. Again, now let me show you a little bit of footage of the game and explain a little bit more about it. And this is Wizard's Crown and its glorious CGA graphics. I decided to play it on the IBM PC because it just runs a lot faster than the other versions. This is the basic main menu. Pretty much a lot of the inventory and a lot of the menus are just text only. One nice thing about Wizard's Crown is it does have a really strong skill system. Alright, let's go ahead and step outside, and you get to see what the town in Wizard's Crown looks like. Again, the graphics are very basic because this is from the mid-80s. But again, if you step around town, there's all kinds of different places you can go. The marketplace where you can sell items, and also a couple places where you can buy goods as well. This is our first combat. I decided to do a tactical so you could actually see how it's all laid out. At first you have to set up your characters basically in battle. You place them, and then after that you can actually start the battle. And probably the best looking version of Wizard's Crown is on the Atari ST, but unfortunately, just like the IBM, there was no sequel, which was Eternal Dagger, was never made for the IBM PC and the Atari ST. They were only made for the Apple II, Commodore 64, and the Atari 8-bit computers. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit so you can actually see a little bit of the combat. Yeah, for Wizardry, like a lot of the early 80s RPGs, had any kind of failing, it was probably that it doesn't have much of a story. A lot of the early RPGs didn't. And yes, I know the graphics really aren't that great, but again, this is a game I played in high school, and I can say this was the very first RPG that I beat, so that's probably why this game is so dear to me, is because it was my first experience with computer RPGs. A fun fact about Wizard's Crown is Keith Brewers actually worked on Wizard's Crown. He also worked on Polar Radiance, which is the Goldback series. So this game heavily influenced the battle system that was implemented in Polar Radiance and a lot of the Goldback series. Alright guys, I won't torture anymore with the game. And like I said, this is a 1,000 subscriber contest for the Thevideogameshark. Definitely check him out. There'll be a link down below in the description to his channel. He's got a lot of great collection videos, a lot of pickup videos, and hell, in the last few months he has found some amazing games, from Little Samson to Flintstones. He's found some pretty damn good games. So again guys, thanks for watching.